He believes there is a lot of gold here. So he stayed here and continued to dig for gold. Good grief. The man finally found a giant piece of gold. Yellow. He is very happy. The days of hard work were not in vain. The man cries. He wants to leave here. Go to the city to enjoy life. Before leaving, he went to the river and bathed. Look at the hideous scars everywhere. The man was once a war machine. The man packed all his bags. Get on a horse and go straight to town. However, on the way he met warriors. Nazi soldiers retreated from the battlefield. The group of people looked at the man maliciously. But there isn't any conflict. Behind was a soldier aiming a gun, but was stopped by the guard, because the officers knew the man would die. The scenery along the way was terrifying. On each pillar hung the body of a man, and these corpses were from a neighboring village. Even if the brutal Nazis were defeated, they would also burn, kill, and plunder on their way back. Both men were hanged, and women were not so lucky. They will be packed in the car, raped by soldiers. Strong man in battle. A view 100 times worse than this. He was still calm, but he had just stepped out. Then meet some Nazis who are highway robbers. There are many people stop the man. Search his trunk for valuables. A soldier saw a lump of gold. He knew they would be rich this time. The man could only be silent, but have fun before he kills her. So they threatened the man's dog, and continued to shoot the fleeing dog with their guns. The officer walking far ahead smiled knowingly when he heard the gunshots. A man saw a dog in danger. He was furious. In the end, he decided not to give up. So grabbed the handle. The man only needed 10 seconds to kill some of the Nazi soldiers who robbed him of his gold. Fierce shots of the battle here. The soldiers left. The officers thought the situation was not good, so the tank was sent back for inspection. When officers came back, only one body was found, and in the soldier's hand, held a piece of gold. He felt remorse, so he decided to follow along and earn gold. On the other hand, the man was riding a horse. Suddenly he heard the sound of a truck behind him. He felt bad, so he immediately ran. As expected, the tank did not hesitate to fire head-on. Cannons and heavy machine guns continuously fired at the man. But because the man ran too fast, missed a single shot. However, the man suddenly slowed down. He controlled the large horse under his crotch and slipped carefully. Hearing the explosion, the man who was blown up by the mine fell on his back. A horse was blown to pieces. The force of the explosion was muffled by the horse's body. Fortunately, the man was not killed. He stood. Look at the scattered gold. Tanks and Nazis are coming. He immediately stood up. Take a lot of gold. The Nazi officer saw gold all over the ground. He was excited. The emotion called greed grew in his heart. The man quickly saved all the gold. He picked up a stone. Before the enemy is ready to attack, suddenly throws stones. The stone hits the mine. A series of explosions cause the earth to fill with dust. Seeing this, the officer immediately ordered all soldiers to open fire. The man raised his bulletproof shield and stepped back. At this point, he did wrong. That was the fate of being torn to pieces. The smoke still hasn't cleared. Officers lost track of the man. He ordered his soldiers to advance and scout. Soldiers advance in fear. Suddenly his head was hit by the shield. If a warrior does wrong, it immediately explodes into pieces. Seeing this, the Mandarin arranged for 2 soldiers to come forward to find a way. The 2 of them dashed forward cautiously. 2 more explosions. 2 people died. The funny thing is, they made these mines with their own hands. Officers can't let their own people die. So 2 women are sent to find a way forward. Officers found a nameplate near the shell crater, and the only thing the guy dropped. 2 women with caution exploring the road ahead. Tanks follow. Fortunately, they no longer activated the gold mine. The officers returned to the tank. According to the information on the nameplate, let the messenger look for the identity of the man. It turned out that the man's name was Jack. As a veteran of World War II, for killing people like thorns on the battlefield, he is called a war machine. After leaving the army, he learned that his family had been tortured and killed by European soldiers. So he went into the wilderness alone to hunt soldiers. One hunter killed more than 300 people. Later generations passed on the nickname Undead Devil. Officer heard the story about Jack. Full of contempt, he didn't believe in such mythical legends at all. Ordered to arrest Jack. Take all the gold in his hand. On the other hand, Jack escapes. He saw a car accident, so lean over to the side to treat the wound. Because there was no medicine, the wound could only be covered with earth that had been scorched by the fire. Then use the knife to dig up all the bullets in the body. Tired, he fell asleep, but now he doesn't know. Danger has come. The soldiers behind had caught up. To find him faster, even police dogs were deployed. There was no other way. He could only risk his life. He quickly slid his hand under the car, depriving the dog of its sense of smell. He used a knife to stab the gas tank, poured petrol on her. As expected, the dog suddenly lost its way. Jack lay quietly under the car, then ran to the river when no one was looking. The officer waved his hand when he saw Jack. Don't let the underlings shoot him. He was like a hunter tempting his prey. Sent hounds to hunt prey. Saw the dog running towards him. The man set himself on fire. Intense fire immediately stopped the dog. The officers gave the order to open fire, but Jack jumped into the lake first, with a pound of gold to sink to the bottom of the lake. Officer standing on the shore. He couldn't believe that Jack didn't need oxygen. After waiting for half an hour, Jack raised his head. Snipers fire as soon as they see their target. Jack sank again. Bright red color on the water. Officers saw the time had come, so they sent people into the water to find gold. A soldier jumps into the water, not knowing the approaching danger. Jack swam behind the soldiers like a ghost. Swiped his neck with a knife, then used the air in the other person's lungs to oxygenate himself. A large number of blood bubbles suddenly appeared on the surface of the water. The second soldier dives into the water. Then he gets angry. The soldiers above were all slightly frightened. The third person did not dare to enter the water. To survive, he desperately slid towards the opposite shore. The officer ordered snipers to immediately kill the deserter, who knew that even though the soldiers were shot dead, the boats still departed. With the boat anchored, Jack's body is revealed, to thoroughly solve future problems. Beam gunner. Turn around and run towards the tank. Jack didn't run away immediately after getting off. He carried the body of a soldier on his back, then just ran. The unique sound of a heavy machine gun echoing behind him. Machine gun shells exploded. The body behind was swiftly shattered into pieces. Jack is still alive. Rotate screen. Jack is on his way into the night. He passes through the ruins of a war-torn city. Finally found an abandoned gas station. Jack lost too much health and kept fighting. Ended up not being able to save it. Asleep next to a destroyed wall. But as soon as he fell asleep, he heard a dog barking. Just walked out and saw a dog running up to him. Soon he saw the dog. Grenades have been placed on the body. Jack didn't have time to react. He just threw the grenade away. The shockwave of the explosion finally knocked the Jack down. Live again. Saw the officer's face appear before him, and he was hanged by a sniper. The three of them looked at the hanged Jack and remained silent. Before the policeman left, he put a gold coin in Jack's pocket. When the few people left, Jack suddenly opened his eyes. He swayed his body. In the end, the steel bar pierced the leg wound. To avoid choking, as the night wore on, the planes flying low in the morning caused strong turbulence. Destroy the Jacks. Two enemy pilots intend to enter the gas station to get gas. They saw Jack fall on the ground. Get ready to shoot him. Jack sent a direct kick. The enemy was seriously injured in the head and died on the spot. The pilots couldn't hear him for a long time. The escort then stepped forward to check, but only saw his friend's dead body. Jack appeared from behind. A brick falls straight down. After killing him, Jack looked at the gold in his hand. He meant to do it, but he was furious. There is no escape from this evil. Going to the toilet would be inconvenient for the rest of his life. So he planned. He tied up the pilot, then undressed and treated his wound. Burn the hole with a match. Remove the grenade shrapnel from the wound. Chemudine thread the wire through the wound and suture. Cleaning with gasoline. The pilot saw it and screamed mercilessly. In the end, he hijacked the pilot and landed the plane. The convoy of officers suddenly stopped. After getting out of the car, he noticed that the plane had crashed and was blocking the road. Open the cockpit and find the pilot dead. And snipers find noose around pilot's neck. The same rope that hung the Jack yesterday. Things started to get freaky scared. Inexplicable officer. He didn't want to find out what the truth was. Just order a convoy to turn around and continue on your way. After getting on the bus, some women get scared seeing soldiers. He started laughing. He heard the legend of Jack. He kept on stimulating the soldiers' sensitive nerves with his words. You know Jack won't die so easily, and will come at any moment and send them to hell. At this point, a soldier suddenly fell to the ground and died. The guy just wanted to get up and check, but caught by a strange man. Right after being crushed by his own tank, Jack appears in the carriage. He just caught it. Guns were handed out to some of the women. Then up onto the roof. Blow to the driver's hat. The woman took the driver's place and continued driving. The two worked together. Jack jumps on top of the tank. Then the woman stepped on the gas. A vehicle full of soldiers in front stood side by side. None of the soldiers in the van survived. The people in the tank saw the crash ahead, but they didn't care. Just speed up and get out of here. They are very scared. Jack currently wields an iron pickaxe, constantly digging the tank compartment door. Snipers can only survive to face Jack. Their fists were inseparable. Finally got out of the tank together. The officer said nothing. Just run at full speed. Upon landing, Jack repeatedly beats Snipers. He grabbed her by the neck to hand her the script. The two people at the end of the line just arrived at the perfect time. Jack just raised his head and glared at the two of them fiercely. The two immediately disarmed and fled. Jack pays no attention to the sniper on the ground. Gets on a motorcycle and chases after him. Snipers thought he was running away. Unexpectedly, several armed women emerged from the dense fog. And his fate will only get worse. On the other hand, the officers arrived at the evacuation site with only soldiers left. So as not to reveal the gold's secret, he resolutely opens fire and kills his own men. Then follow the pilot to prepare to evacuate. At this point, Jack rushed forward on the motorcycle. Then machine guns. Light machine guns. No money. Continuous shooting at the plane. Out of ammo, Jack picked him up again. The iron pickaxe charged forward without hesitation. The plane took off smoothly. The officer saw the motorcycle on the ground and felt relieved. Little did he know that Jack was hanging under the plane at the moment. Leave it on the plane. Jack arrives at the landing gear at the rear of the plane. Hit the door with the pickaxe. Everything's gone. In the end, the plane was punched by him with a big hole. The officer finally sensed something was wrong. Take the weapon and go to the cabin to check. As soon as he opened the door, Jack shook his head and turned around. Weapons dropped. Both of them entered the melee phase. Very nice attendant. Jack, already seriously injured, immediately fell to a low position. Officer hanged himself. Faced Jack. He kicked him. Stepped on him. Still wanted to kick him in the face. Seeing Jack fall to the ground, can't stand up. The officer took out a piece of iron for the straps. Jack's laziness said it was just a seizure. Beating Jack is called skin peeling. Finally Jack was helpless and fell to the ground. Seeing a shell, he tried to support his upper body. Take the rope that the officer took. Hang on the hook. Then let go. In this way the officer died instantly. Jack tried to stand up. But now the plane started to tilt. Jack rushed to the plane. Bullet hit the pilot. Pilot now is dead. The plane will crash. Jack immediately went to the cabin to find an umbrella. But every box is empty. Jack could only use the rope as a safety belt in the end, tying it tightly at the corner. Be prepared for an impending accident. Luckily the plane crashed in a swamp. In the end Jack struggled to get out of the swamp. And he clutched 2 bags of gold in his hands.